An Obamacare disaster unfolding right in front of our eyes, and it could hurt Democrats across the country with just 2 weeks to go before Election Day. When the president sold his signature health care law, he promised Americans their premiums would go down.
They're suddenly going to see opportunities not just for the rebates we discussed, but also for even greater savings in their monthly premiums. That if you don't have health insurance, you finally are in a position to get some at an affordable price. They said that these rates would come in real high and everybody's premiums would be sky high. The prices came in lower than we expected, lower than I predicted. The growth of health care costs is down. And that's good for our middle class, and that's good for our fiscal future. Health care prices have risen at the lowest rate in 50 years.
But now the White House admits the Affordable Care Act isn't going to be so affordable after all. Obamacare premiums are set to drastically spike next year by an average of 25%. So if you live in Arizona, they might increase by 116%. Other battleground states like Pennsylvania and North Carolina could see hikes on average of 53 and 40%. So premiums are skyrocketing, as many critics predicted. But don't blame the president, says the president.
A lot of times, they just report premium increases. And everybody thinks, wow, my insurance rates are going up. It must be Obama's fault. Even though you don't get health insurance through Obamacare, you get it through your job. Even though your increases have gone up a lot slower. You know, or suddenly you're paying a bigger copay and, thanks, Obama. And it's, well, no, I had nothing to do with that. Oops.
All right. Eric, can you take us through the numbers?
Wait a minute. Isn't it called Obamacare? What do you mean you had nothing to do with that? And isn't that exactly everything that we've been warning about for the better part of 4 or 5 years, however long it's been since we started this process? Then you pointed out Arizona, 116%, North Carolina. How about Minnesota? You mentioned Minnesota yesterday, another battleground state where Hillary's
and with only like one insurer, right?
Yeah, the insurers have moved out. 59% increase there. Pennsylvania, 53%. Utah, dead tie, 20% increases there. Forget that for a minute. In that same speech that Obama talked about Obamacare's failures in advance of what we found out yesterday, he compares Obamacare to the Galaxy Note. You know, the one that starts on fire and they had to pull off the market.
You're not allowed to have it on a plane anymore.
Yeah, he says something like, oh, you know, you don't go back from smartphones because one of them starts on fire. No. You do. You start over. You pull it off the market while people are getting burned or dying if one blows up on an airplane.
You figure out the engineering problem.
Out a way. And by the way, because there's a smartphone, the reason why there's a competition to the smartphone is called the iPhone. So what Donald Trump should do, even Hillary Clinton at this point should do, is say, here's how we will fix the healthcare system in America.
And that is going to be on the minds of a lot of people because it's not just the premiums that have gone up, Greg. It's also deductibles are really high, and also you have, especially here in Manhattan, the number of doctors who have said we're not taking any of the insurance, and so the insurance is leaving the island.
Yeah, but you know what the fix is going to be? More poison.
Oh, that's exactly
more poison. Obamacare was destined to fail, according to the left, because it wasn't pure enough. And that's the philosophy behind all socialism in the last 100-some-odd years. It's never the idea, it's the implementation. And it would only work better if you were more subservient to government and that you're forced to actually enjoy it. It's a lesson in socialism. As long as your heart's in the right place, your hands can go anywhere. Just ask Bill Clinton. And it proved Thatcher's point that sooner or later you run out of wealthy people, and the people that get hurt in this massive program of redistribution, because that's what it is. The reason why the premiums are going up, because more people are paying it, so other people don't. It's redistribution. It's a socialist scheme, and you sooner or later run out of the rich, and you end up hurting the middle class.
The thing is, Kimberly, is that a lot of people, having had people who didn't have insurance before and then got insurance under Obamacare, they kind of like it. So now you're in a situation where you have fewer people that are able to pay, but the Democrat solution is subsidies, but subsidies come from where?
Right.
Taxpayers.
Subsidies come from the taxpayers. And again, you're continuing to use the same source of power and revenue stream over and over again, and eventually it taps out. So yes, you may be doing some good for some people, but what is the overall structure of it, and is it built to last? no, because it cannot survive the way they have it presently designed. I mean, it will basically do itself in a matter of time. And we're actually seeing that happen very quickly. It was predicted, but now you're seeing the fallout in, rapid succession. And obviously, they didn't put enough time and thought or energy into it because they were just trying to rush it, get it out to market. Well, we'll worry about a few lawsuits or a few deaths along the way after it happens, but it was their whole ideology that they were more interested in putting forward than actually quality, affordable health care.
Juan, I bet you would disagree, right?
I do, to some extent. I mean, where I agree is that I think there's a problem, and I think you've heard that not only from Donald Trump, but from Hillary Clinton and from Bill Clinton, famously, who said this thing's going crazy, and from President Obama. Everybody says there needs to be steps to fix a system, that was out of whack for 6 decades, 60 years. People were trying to fix it. Obamacare was an effort to do that. And so now you got a situation where you get premiums going up and fewer insurers in the marketplace. But I think a key thing here is what President Obama just said that we all heard. He said, you know what, this doesn't affect most Americans who get their health insurance through their employer plans, and premiums there are going down. And 77%, Dana, of the people who are currently enrolled in Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, guess what, they can still get a plan for under $100 a month. 83% of them get subsidies. So even in that marketplace, what you're seeing is, gee, most of these people will do pretty well. The problem is people who make just too much money and are outside of that marketplace, some of the small business owners that we've heard discussed. But again, to take it away, it comes back to what we were talking about earlier. Somebody would have to say, here's a better idea. Here's something that will work. Because if you take it away right now, you will start to affect a larger market, people who realize insurance companies can't deny coverage right now under Obamacare. Children are able to stay on until they're 26 on their parents' plan. You can't have a lifetime cap.
But to your point, what you replace it with, this is the twofold disaster of Obamacare. It's not just Obamacare. The real damage is what you could have had instead. Every social program has another consequence, an invisible consequence. What private alternative could there have been that we no longer pursue because we chose the government answer? And the government answer is always inferior to the private answer. And to Kimberly's point about why it was rushed, it's because the media was for it. The media refused to connect the dots between socialism and poverty. So this was another program.
But also there were deals that were done in the back rooms. Remember those deals? And that was when President Obama came in. He had the Democrats. He had the captive audience. He got it done. He pushed it through. One of the reasons why Obamacare is failing right now is something we warned about here for years, that young people will take the fine instead of buying Obamacare. Obamacare is too expensive, so they say, you know what? I'm not going to buy Obamacare. I'm not going to support the system that is paying for a lot of the elderly who are sucking all the assets out of the system. Someone's got to put it in, and they were expecting young people to pay up, and we said that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be cheaper to take the fine.
Let's get Donald Trump. He spoke about this earlier. I think Hillary didn't issued a paper statement, but we have Donald Trump on camera, so we are television. We shall show it to you.
Obamacare is just blowing up, and even the White House, our president, announced 25 or 26%. That number is so wrong. That is such a phony number. You're talking about 60, 70, 80% in increases. Obamacare has to be repealed and replaced, and it has to be replaced with something much less expensive. All of my employees are having a tremendous problem with Obamacare. You folks, this is another group. Is that a correct statement? I mean, you look at what they're going through with their health care is horrible because of Obamacare.
Right, so Kimberly, this is like a political gift 2 weeks before the election, Obamacare, and yet Trump got it wrong there because his employees actually get health coverage through him, through his company, through the benefits, not from Obamacare, but still he's going to try to make a go of it.
Right. I mean, so wrong group, but correct sentiment, which is y'all out there, not just right here in front of me, out there. So, yeah, this is, I would take this all the way and run. It's like an interception and run it back in for the score, right as the buzzer goes off. It's true, and this just shows it's the whole thing where, listen, they knew that this wasn't going to work. I mean, the architect talked about it and laughing talking about pulling it over on the American people. And in such a thing that is so important, which is health care, and for those that really need it, the elderly people who are facing more medical crises in their life, you want to trust and rely on them to not try to, perpetuate a fraud on you. Instead, they did with gleeful delight, and now it's caught up to them even quicker than they thought. They would have loved that this came out after the election, but unfortunately, it's coming before November 8th.
Give them credit. They didn't delay it. I mean, they announced it. But I will say this. When I look at the politics of it, Dana, I see that...
Thank you for killing me now instead of 2 weeks.
I'm sorry?
The idea is thank you for killing me now instead of in 2 weeks.
We're not killing anybody. But I'm saying they put out what is bad news for them right now. But,
I don't think they had a choice because it was the insurance companies were...
The insurance companies, but we knew that part. But what they also put out that they expect more people now to enroll because you can have higher income and still qualify.
With more subsidies, because that's what Greg was saying, that you get more poison.
But in terms of the politics of it, which interests me greatly, could this be a game changer going 2 weeks into the election? I looked at Gallup, and it's not even an issue that Americans care very much about. And when you go
in the House and Senate races, Republicans are making a deal about it.
They're making a big deal, but the numbers are when people are asked, what do you care about in terms of non-economic issues?
You know what people care about, Juan? They care about not only their premiums going up, but their deductibles skyrocketing, which is another after effect that they failed to mention prior that we talked about here. And middle America right now is getting squeezed. They can't afford health care. They can't afford Obamacare. They're told they can't work 40 hours a week or they're going to be called full-time, and they're going to have to be put on a health care system. I push back aggressively on your assessment that America doesn't care about Obamacare.
No, it's not my assessment. It's Gallup's. I mean, I think everybody's table will say that's what the poll numbers show.
But when
you look at what Democrats say, 74% of Democrats support this law. 76% of Republicans oppose the law. Independents are split. And when it comes to
is this your number one after we find out that premiums are skyrocketing?
Yeah, no, this poll was taken. They take it every month. So this
before, right? Let's find out what it is next month.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last word.
Gallup's just horsing around.
Much more to come on the 5. I just got it.